Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Thursday evening episode of Ted's Boo Cellar with me, your most gracious host, Ted. Welcome to the premiere alcohol review show here on YouTube. It's literally just 5:45 on the 22nd of August 2024. I hope I'm finding you all in a good state of affairs, and if I'm not, then I hope things improve very soon. So, I spent some time with some of my family recently, and my brother and his wife were very kind to gift me two very interesting looking beers from the lovely country of Scotland. So I'm going to be taking a look at one of them today, and it's a bit of an interesting one because there's a principle behind it that I've seen in other beers before, particularly the Echo Smoked Black Porter, which was very, very nice, but this one, I haven't seen that same concept of a smoked alcohol in the type of beer that we're having today, because I think, smoked kind of flavours work quite well with something that's quite dark and heavy, like a Trappist beer or a porter or a stout or something like that. But today we're going to be taking a look at a Scottish smoked lager. And yeah, I'm not sure how a smoked flavour will mix with a lager, but I'm interested to see how it works, because this could either be amazing or really odd, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, I think. So it's made by Otherworld Brewing, so do give them a shout out and a check out. I do think that independent breweries do need to be supported more. So it says on the back here, a crisp dry lager made using German smoked malts, then barrel aged in Coal Illa whiskey barrels. I might have mispronounced that horribly, so apologies to any of my fans from Scotland. And to combine the best of Scottish and German brewing traditions. Well, if there's two countries that know how to brew a lovely bit of dram, it's definitely Germany and Scotland. Those two countries, woo! If the Germans know their beer and brandy and the Scots know their beer and whiskey, then they definitely do. Ingredients: water, barley, wheat, oats, hops, yeast. So do be wary of that. And it does say it is suitable for vegans. So yeah, should be nice. It's alcohol percentage of 5.5%. It's a 440 milliliter can. And I will say that I really like the design of the label. It is just to the point. Some might say like, oh, why isn't there more art design elsewhere on the can? But to be honest with you, the main label here kind of takes up most of the main spot of the label on the can anyway. And the name of the brewery kind of takes up a big chunk as well. So it doesn't really need too much art design on this can, I don't think. It looks fine. A bit of art with a white background isn't too shabby. And I like the design of the spider on here as well. It's kind of giving a little bit vibes of, I don't know, Judge Dredd comics from the early 2000s by way of the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s. I don't know why it's making me think of that, but it just kind of is. And then presumably, it's set in Scotland as well. But yeah, no, I actually really like the art design of this can. Very handsome, but very simple and kind of understated, but also very artistic. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10 actually. Looks really good. Yeah, really, really nice. Actually, yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I did drop this can, so it is a bit fizzed up, so it may fizzle up when I open it, and it has done, but hence the reason why I got out one of my tea towels to put on the floor, just in case that did happen. So apologies to my brother and his wife. I did spill a tiny bit of it because, well, it is a bit fizzed up and that's my own stupidity. So, sorry. Anyway, let's have a quick snifter of it to see what our first impressions are like. So, ooh, interesting nose. A bit understated, but it's got a lager sort of after smell. But the main body of the nose is more like a smoky, oaky kind of flavour, which kind of fits the bill, really. So, yeah, it's got not much room to breathe in the can, obviously, but it smells nice. Yeah, it smells nice. A bit oaky, a bit smoky, with a little bit of a hoppy after smell. Yeah, nice nose. Just, again, not much room to breathe, so I'll probably say 7 out of 10. It smells fine, but just, yeah, not amazing. But anyway, let's pour it into the Arbroath Football Club glass, because a Scottish beer deserves a Scottish glass. Oh, nice. Okay, so you can see there, a little bit of a head, not too bad. Let's sniff it in the glass to see what our impressions of the nose are really like. know what this kind of reminds me of, actually? This kind of reminds me of the craft beer Road Crew. I think that's what it's called. You can get it from the Yellow Bookstore in Brighton, and I do recommend it because it's a very, very nice beer, but it's got a slightly more mild version of that beer's nose, but also a little bit more oaky. So, yeah, it's an interesting profile, actually. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I'll give the nose in the glass a 8 out of 10. It's just generally much of the same, but it's just got more room to breathe, really. So, not much else to talk about other than the fact that it smells nice, but, that's not much to go off of. So, we'll see what our real impressions of the drink are like once we drink it. But first, quick palate cleanser of water. And then on to the most important part of the video, which is to see what this sucker tastes like. So, to everyone at home and to my brother and his dear wife, thank you, love you both, and bottoms up, and let's all have a great weekend, even though the weather is pretty rotten at the moment. No, that's quite interesting, actually. Ooh, the flavour is a real slow burner, actually. The flavour, you kind of get that sort of beery, hoppy, sort of lagery taste to begin with. It's quite crisp. It's a little bit wet in texture, but it's more so like crisp and like sort of to the point, very succinct kind of flavour to start with. And you kind of feel like that's going to be the main body of the flavour, and there's like a little bit of an undertone of smokiness throughout, so you're kind of getting the impression of what you're in for a little bit when you first sip it down. But then once you drink it down, it kind of sort of filters down a bit, and then the sort of smokiness kind of comes to life on the back of your tongue and in the middle of your throat once you've swallowed it down. But not straight away when you've swallowed it down. It's more like a... It's more like a 2 to 4 second fuse. So you drink it, you sort of like let it sit a bit, and then you get this onrush of smokiness at the back of your throat. It's a really, really nice, like smooth, very sort of like sharpish kind of smokiness though, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It kind of sits, then it bursts, and then it kind of simmers down again, and it kind of does stay in the back of your mouth for a little while afterwards. So it is quite strong in that sense, but I personally feel for like what I kind of enjoy, it doesn't sit too long for me personally. However, I do think upon like review, I think like the level to which the smokiness stays in the back of your throat after you've swallowed it down might turn off some people. So this is me primarily speaking from my own perspective and like what I enjoy, but I don't know, I'm a bit conflicted on this because I can see why some people might not like this, but I am really enjoying it. And if you swallow a big gulp in, actually, you get a bit of a sense of like juiciness, almost sort of like this citrusy, fruity sort of extra aspect to the flavour, which is less present if you're just sipping it kind of more than anything. But it's a really, really interesting flavour profile. It's multi-varied, it's got hops, it's got a yeasty undertone, it's got a lagery beginning to the taste, it's got a really sort of like smooth, oaky, smoky flavour in the aftertaste that kind of lingers and then settles and then comes back to life again. It's a multifaceted... I just love the flavour. It's really interesting and it's very, very varied and diverse. You get a bunch of different flavours, about 3 or 4, to be honest, throughout the drink. But the main 2 flavours are that lager taste and the smokiness at the end. But they combine together really, really well. I really, really like the way that the flavour of this is lined and laid out. It's, lovely. Like I said, I do think that the level to which this is smoky may turn off some people. I'm not going to say wholeheartedly this is for absolutely everyone, but if you're into craft lagers and if you're into smoky flavours in general, I do think this is worth giving a look. The texture is also very, very easy to kind of digest. It's not super harsh, it's not super bubbly, it's not super muddled. It's pretty smooth in general for a lager, I would say. But it's also just kind of there. Like, the texture's not bad, it's just kind of a bit, yeah, so-so. Just all right, really. But it's not a bad texture. And to be honest, it kind of complements the flavour. I feel like having a more straightforward, slightly thin and, to be honest, a little bit watery texture in this beer's case actually really does kind of help the flavour stand out on its own. If you're looking for an all-encompassing drink experience where you really want to think about the flavour and the texture at the same time, it's still pretty good for that, but I feel like the main draw of this is the flavour. The texture's fine, but it's just like a 6 out of 10, to be honest. The taste for me, though, like, it starts off as like a 6.5, but then when it comes through and you swallow it down and you digest it a little bit and it sits, it kind of goes up to a 7, and then I think it really kind of finishes as a... It's like an 8, or I'd say an 8. I really, really like this beer. This is good stuff, and I would say go out of your way to get this again because it's very, very tasty. I just wish like the texture was a little bit more fuller and a bit more interesting. And I do think that, yeah, there maybe could be an extra like layer of like creaminess to the texture and the flavour as well, which might help some of the flavours stand out a bit further, or at least like balance things out a bit more. But generally speaking, it's good. Yeah, I really like the idea of smoked lager, and, well, I mean, if there's one people to master it, I would assume it's the Scottish, because they mastered Scotch, so yeah, very nice. Lovely. Yeah, really, really nice. I've always said as well, Scottish beer is pretty underrated, to be honest. You know, it doesn't get as much recognition as like beer from France, England, Belgium, or even America, really, but I don't know. Most of the Scottish beers I've ever tried have been pretty good. And have I ever tried any other drinks from Scotland? I mean, obviously alcohol in terms of Scotland, I'm mainly familiar with their whiskey, but I do remember I did that review of that one Glaswegian gin that one time, and that was good stuff. So yeah, no, so far Scotland's track record on this show is pretty good. But yeah, definite 8 out of 10 for the Scottish Smoked Lager by Otherworld Brewing. Really good job, guys. Keep it up. I want to see more of this. Very nice. Yeah, lovely. And to my brother and his wife, thank you so much. That was a really lovely gift, and I'm looking forward to the other beer that you got me as well. It was great to see you guys recently, and to everyone at home, if you liked this video, leave a like, share and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos or video topics or video formats in the future, let me know in the comments section down below, as well as anything that you may have agreed or disagreed with, particularly in this video. On top of that, if you want to check out my other social medias, I'll leave the links to all them in the video description down below, so check that out if you're interested. And until next time, like, share and subscribe, have fun, stay safe, don't do anything I wouldn't do, wash your hands, drink responsibly, know your limits, and I'll see you guys at the bar next time on Ted's Booze Cellar. Bye-bye for now. Whoa, lovely. Bloody lovely.